What's up, YouTube? I'm back with another video, and I know everyone is ragging on the Suicide Squad game, but I want to bring some positivity into it, okay? Or not positivity, but like 2020 vision, hindsight into regard here about what I would do to fix it, what I would have done in the beginning to prevent all this. But before we get into that, please hit the like button, subscribe, and share. For all the new viewers, please sub. I upload videos every day, and you know the whole spiel. But yeah. But so what I would do, let's start with the whole hindsight thing. What I'd do, so if I wanted, let's say WB knocked on our office doors, you know what I mean, as a collective, all of us, and said, hey, we want y'all to make a Suicide Squad game, looter shooter, okay? And y'all can do whatever y'all want, but it has to be a looter shooter based on the Suicide Squad, because it's big at that point in time when it was being developed, right? Okay, bet we can make it work. Okay, I'm not the whole gameplay mechanic of it, because from people saying the gameplay is fun, it's just the story is awful. That's why people don't like it, And so, but also we'll touch on the gameplay later. But right now, what I would do is first we have to make the characters likable, which the characters in the story are funny, and some people do like them, right? But in order to make them really likable, you have to put them up against a force that is ultimately evil, right? And so you can have the whole thing where Brainiac's taking over, you're in Metropolis, and they corrupt the Justice League, but instead of putting in the Arkham verse, put in the Injustice verse. That literally solves all your problems, because the Justice is already evil, right? But then you have an alien overlord taking over also, where you can do the thing where they can go to different universes to stop Brainiac. And so a bunch of people already hate the Injustice universe because most of the characters are unlikable and they're also unbearable. Like Superman, Wonder Woman's annoying, all the insurgents, it's just stupid. I hated it, okay, right? And so they already have the shenanigans of going to different universes, bringing different universes in and stuff like that through like Cyborg and all that stuff, right? Because that's how they defeated Superman in the first game. They brought in the R version of Superman, the good, for truth and justice Superman, right? They go against the injustice Superman. You could just have it where the Suicide Squad is tasked by Waller, like, yo, they're out of control, they're taking over, they're murdering people, they're taking over, Superman's gone crazy, and he's using Brainiac's technology to corrupt the rest of the Justice League. People who don't comply are getting corrupted, and you need to go through, kill the Justice League, and also defeat Superman. Superman will be the main boss then at the point. He'll be the final boss, because in this universe, Brainiac is already defeated, but, Superman basically just takes his place. And so you could have the thing where it's, the Suicide Squad, and then they're going through and doing the exact same thing, but let's have more creativity with the boss fights, with the, characterization of the characters and stuff like that. One thing I would change about the Suicide Squad, if you want to, I am one of those people who's like, you have Captain Boomerang and Harley Quinn against Superman, doesn't make any sense. But I do like the fact that some of these characters have, history with their counterparts, you know what I mean? Like it's a Batman villain going up against a corrupted Batman. If we want to do that, one thing we gotta change, Deadshot has to be Bloodsport, because he actually has a connection with Superman. Like it's in the comics, his main thing was he shot Superman with a kryptonite bullet and sent him to the hospital. It's perfect sense. Don't shove in this weird beef between Green Lantern and Deadshot, two characters that rarely interact and rarely have history. And it's like, why do y'all have beef? Like, what are we talking about? Other than the two black people fighting each other, it's like, what are we doing here? It's like, and they're throwing weird subliminals during the game. It's like, bro, what is this? What are we doing here? This is weird, because you have right there, you have Bloodsport, which you can do a thing with his gameplay where, like, let's say you want to rework the skill trees to make it very different between characters. You could have it where most from Borderlands 3, where they all have 3 different skill trees depending on what you want to do, right? King Shark, or you could change to another character that's like a brawler type or whatever. And you could have it where King Shark can have like this bloodlust perk, where the more enemies he defeats with his hands and eats, the more powerful he gets. Then Bloodsport, you can have it where each skill tree is a different gun you can put together. Like, how Call of Duty, how they have different attachments you can piece together. Like, the more you play through the story, the more you do side missions, you collect different pieces, and then you can assemble your own personal gun, like Dead Space did in Dead Space 3, where it's like you can put these different augmentations on your gun that make it vastly different, where multiple people can play the same character, but they have different types of archetypes, if that makes sense. So you could have a a blood sport that's like, I have a rail gun that's just blasting people from a distance, or I have a, this weird minigun hybrid thing that collects metals and all. You could do stuff with like, because this whole thing is like these nanotechnology thing that's on his chest. Well, all I know about Bloodspot is from the comics I read about him shooting Superman and in the movie. So I'm not a Bloodspot expert, okay? So just relax. But you can do the thing where it's like, okay, basing off what that you could do that. That's dope, and he's good with every weapon. So like, that's kind of fire. You could do stuff like that, and then he has the history of Superman. And then you could do a thing where Waller's like playing on the fact like, okay, you have a family, and you could pick up the thing where at the end they become heroes to the Earth because they freed them from the oppression of the Justice League and stuff like that, right? Harley Quinn should not be in this. I'm gonna be so honest with you. Harley Quinn, what are we doing here? What are we doing here? In Assault on Arkham Asylum, it made sense while Harley was there because she's memorized the entire Arkham Asylum like layout, and she's like more of a guy. You know what I mean? It makes sense. I don't expect Harley Quinn to like have any like, what are we doing here? Especially in the game when they're like, oh, she's immune to the Scarecrow toxin because she interacted with Scarecrow once. Like, what is that? How does that work? It doesn't make any sense. She never got. I don't understand that, but yeah, Captain Boomerang's cool or whatever. I guess you could have like Stephen King short. You could have like a Solomon Grundy. I think that'd be dope, like an undead character that's just like, okay, or like you could have like a Bizarro or what, you know what I mean? It's different characters you can use, but from hindsight, that's what I would have done. Where it's like, okay, we're going in the Injustice universe because everyone would be happy that you're killing the Justice League because most of Justice Leagues are dickheads. Like Wonder Woman's unbearable. My God, Superman unbearable. Okay. You could also have it where you're freeing some of the heroes, you know what I mean? Or, stuff like that where it's like, it makes sense. Or you can have the one-off heroes that survive that's in the Injustice universe help you, where like you could have a Plastic Man assist and stuff like that, where it's like these characters show up, they help you out, and then they dip, you know what I mean? Because they're saving another section of the world, you know what I mean? It'll be dope. Now, to save this game, the game is already out, so what would we do to fix it now? So let's say Warner Brothers knocked on our desk, it was like, hey, we need y'all help to fix this game, because this game is pretty much dead in the water, because not as many people playing it, already bad word of mouth. Apparently they're gonna bring back the Justice League, but the people don't really know. It's kind of, people say it's hinted to, but it's not hinted to by like very subtle words and dialogue. But it's like, bro, okay, are you doing it or not, right? How will we fix this game? First, we will need to, the new seasons that come out will have to be characters that are not just, that changes up the gameplay, that have people interested into playing this game, okay? Because of course people are saying the gameplay is okay, but all the characters feel the same, where it's like you're all basically shooting, or shooting leading to a melee back to shooting type thing. So let's have a character that can only do melee, you know what I mean? Or like have like a Black Manta, where like he has these giant laser beams, and he has you could copy off of the Aquaman movie where he has like the Dark Triton and stuff like that, right? Or you can have a different characters that use, you can even go back to like the Arkham gameplay, like melee characters that have the combat and stuff like that, and they're just zipping around, and you can do things like that. Or General Zod, or these different characters that we never could play as before, and we're playing as now that's completely different. A Solomon Grundy, he's an undead monster. You can have Bane, you can have Amazo. I think Amazo will be fire too, because it's like that can work. That can work. He copies the other abilities, so you already have Boomerang's like super speed. You can throw that on there. He already has the power moves of King Shark. You can throw that all together, mega them all together, so you playing this hybrid of all 4 characters at once. I think that'd be dope. Okay, but stuff like that, we gotta really switch up the gameplay so it's fun and interesting and it brings people back. Also, you need to have an end game that's actually fulfilling. So in Borderlands 2, which is my favorite game of all time, the end game was so good because you had this thing called OP leveling, and then you had like overpowered weapons that you had to like grind for, if that makes sense. Not grind for, but like farm, if that makes sense. So in order to do farming, you need to have creative boss fights. So in the new seasons, we really got to change the boss fights. We can't have a boss fight Superman just flying up and down and slamming down and that's it, okay? We need to have very creative boss fights that make sense. And you can copy comics that are already done in the past, or like with what was it, Dark Knight Returns, where he has like he traps Superman in a place with red sunlight or solar lights or whatever, and drains his power and stuff like that. You could do things like that where it's like, okay, they're planning these things, they're not just stumbling into a way to defeat the Justice League. Let's be more creative here with how we kill the Justice League. Again, if we're gonna do it multiple times, be like, okay, this is creative, this is fun, right? Big huge set pieces. I don't know, Superman punches you into the moon. You know what I mean? Something crazy where it's like, yo, I can play this a bunch of times and not get bored. Like when you're playing Borderlands 2 and you're fighting Terramorphous and you're like, you know, or like all the other the vaults, I forgot the vault protector's name, you know what I mean, the giant thing that comes up the lava and stuff like that. It's enjoyable because there's so many things that are happening that is like fun and engaging. Suicide Squad Killer Justice League needs something like that, because so far all the boss fights are pretty mid to boring. Now, another thing they must do first and foremost, because a lot of people are mad and upset, is because they put this in the Arkham universe, right? And I know there's like, obviously there's a whole fan base that is like felt hurt and betrayed because of what happened to Batman, which is understandable. They need to come out ahead and be like, yo, they need to do like a cut scene where it's like, oh, this is the Arkhamverse, but it's like an alternate version of the Arkhamverse, you know what I mean? Where it's like, you can separate this game from the Batman saga without ruining what happened to Batman, right? Because the way it is now, even if they bring Justice League back, like let's say they're clones and all that stuff is true, and they bring it back, you still have a Batman that's killed Robin and all his family members, Superman that has murdered people, Flash that has murdered people, and all stuff like that. They can't just come back with the stuff they just did and it be hunky-dory. And I don't have faith in the writing of this game to admit that, hey, we're going to do this and the third to change the perception of the Justice League after Brainiac, you know? Also, piggyback on the bosses, another cool boss would be Brainiac itself. Instead of it just copying members of the Justice League, have it where like you have to take down parts of his ship and stuff like that. You destroy, or you going through his ship and it morphs and changes and all these different things and stuff like that. I think that'd be dope and creative. So it's like, it's not the same old, you know, fight him, he changes and he just runs around again. I think that'd be pretty lackluster. And so back to the whole Justice League, bringing them back. Yeah, just admit it's like, yo, this is not an Arkhamverse. We just use that for advertisement. This isn't an Arkhamverse. This is a completely different story. Arkhamverse still exists. Batman is still alive in that universe, or whatever happened in there. Robin is still there. This is there. Have it where they travel to the real Arkhamverse, and you have the original Deadshot show up and be like, yo, aren't you like, you're a clone in my universe, blah blah blah, or like you're a fake in my universe, blah 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 blah, or all that stuff like that. It's like, oh yeah, my Joker died just like yours, and etc., and all this other stuff. And also, please get rid of the Harley Quinn high horse type speeches again, because like, she murdered a kid. If this is in the Arkhamverse, she murdered a kid. Okay, she has no right to talk to anyone about how they shouldn't do anything. She murdered a kid. That's what happened. Like, there's no beating around a bush. There's no high ground here. Like, you're a child killer. What are we doing here? But those are my thoughts down below. Let me know what y'all do. If WB walked into you right now, it's like, hey, we messed up, man. We need your help. What would you do to fix this game, to rejuvenate it, to bring it back so it actually can be successful? I'll be in the comments down below. Hit the like button, subscribe, and share. I'm trying to hit 1,000 by the end of the year. And I'm out of here. Peace.